Hey guys, Queen LaShawn back again. I am on a roll. This is my third video for the day. Yay me. And this one I'm doing another review. I watch Lifetime, the show called You. It's on episode 9. I have been watching the full season. I looked around on YouTube to see if I saw other people reviewing it. It doesn't seem like a lot of people do watch it, so maybe I'm in the minority, but I do enjoy the show, and I watched last night's episode, so I felt why not go ahead and do a review on it. So this episode was called Candace, and in this episode we get to see the backstory with Joe's ex-girlfriend Candace. The last episode went off with Beck having a conversation with Joe's ex-girlfriend, and she was pretty much telling him that maybe he'll do to you what he did to Candace. And that kind of got Beck thinking, like, but what the hell did he do to Candace, or what happened to Candace? So we see Beck this whole episode trying to find that out. The episode opens up with Beck and Joe in bed together sleep, and Joe wakes up having a nightmare, and he calls Candace's name. He looks over and he sees that Beck is still asleep. So he's just like, good, you know, Beck didn't hear me calling out Candace's name. So he thinks he's in the clear. And he, of course, gets up, does his own thing, and keeps it moving. But, of course, Beck was not asleep. We get to see her open her eyes, and she, of course, heard him calling Candace's name. So that, along with what the ex-girlfriend told her, really gets her into what we see happen in this episode, is where she is just like, I'm going to get to the bottom of what's going on with Candace. So we see them at breakfast, and Beck asks Joe directly, like, what happened to Candace? And, you know, she was kind of hinting around at it. And immediately from that, Joe was just kind of like, okay, she must have heard me call Candace's name the night before. So he mentions that Candace went to Italy. He didn't go into a whole lot of details and things like that, but that was like the premise. He just said that she was in Italy. She was okay. They went their separate ways. It didn't work out. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. Then we get to see where Joe goes and he talks to the therapist. And he lets him know about the dreams that he's having. And the therapist tells him that maybe that means that you have some unfinished business with Candace that you need to address. And of course, it gets Joe to thinking that, okay, maybe he does. So we get to finally see Joe. They show scenes of when him and Candace first met. We also get to see like how they were with each other, how they interacted, how they fell in love, and all of that stuff. While we get to see all of this, we see Beck is on the computer and she starts her own investigation. She finds Candace's Facebook. She looks through the friends list, and she finds one of their mutual friends that Candace and Joe have in common. So she reaches out to the friend, meets up with her, and basically she asked the friend if she knew, don't mind me, y'all, I'm reading notes because I took notes of the episode, and I'm over here struggling to read my own handwriting. But so basically she meets up with the girl. The girl remembers her from when her and Joe met her. It was like at a party or something. They all kind of crossed paths. So the girls remembered her, and she went ahead and let her ask some questions about Candace or whatever. So they went ahead, discussed that, and it turns out that the friend told her that Candace broke Joe's heart. He cheated on her, and things just did not work out. And Beck was just like, oh, okay, so that's the first time she learned that he had cheated. I mean, that he cheated, that Candace cheated on Beck. I mean, not Beck. Oh, girl, get your stuff together. That we discovered that Candace cheated on Joe. And it made Beck feel away because she was just kind of like, well, why? You know, she was thinking, why didn't he just tell me that? But, of course, it still all just didn't seem right. And in the conversation, she did also discover that she was cheating with Elijah, who was, I'm gonna guess he was who signed her. I think that's who I remember them saying. But so Beck starts to investigate, and she looks up Elijah, and she finds him, and she does some investigating, and she find out that, you know, he was killed, or he was pushed off something she finds out where pretty much he died. And she's just like, okay, everything just doesn't seem right with that. So, of course, they go back and they show us again Joe and Candace, and we get to see them sitting, watching TV, and Candace's phone keeps going off. And Joe is looking like, okay, who is texting you? Because she made an excuse the first time, then she put the phone face down, and it went off again. She looked, and he was just like, do you need to answer your phone? And she was just kind of like, no, it's nobody important. But we all know that Joe is an investigator. So he ended up getting to her phone, looking in it, and he discovered that she was indeed lying. Then we saw him follow her to meet up with the guy. She lied and told him that she was going to do something, but of course Joe went, followed her, and he saw, you know, her go meet up and get in the car with Elijah. She got in his lap, she kissed him, all this stuff, and Joe is just set off. He is beyond pissed at this point because he loves this girl and she cheating on him. So he just loses it from there. And we see he goes and he meets with Elijah, and Elijah, he confronts him about, you know, sleeping with his girlfriend, and he lets him know that, hey, I didn't know that she was in a relationship. She told me she was single. She was pushing up on me the whole time. And at first it seemed that Joe was going to let him go. He was like, okay, it's not his fault. But the guy said something, and it just kind of like pissed him off, and he ended up pushing the guy over they were like up on the top floor. He pushed him over the rails, and then we saw the guy die. So it just got crazy from there. Like, we saw from there, hold on, I'm reading my notes, guys, because that episode was really all over the place. Oh, okay. So then we saw after all of that, Joe and Beck, they were walking home together, and same thing starts happening where Beck's phone is ringing. She looks at it and she shoots Joe some kind of lie, and it blows up again. And he's just kind of like, do you need to handle that? And he made up some excuse, and he told her he had to go back to the bookstore, and he did some investigating, and he went and actually robbed or held at gunpoint the therapist. He found him, and he took his phone and he looked through his phone because something just did not feel right to him. When he looked through his phone, he saw that he had been texting, cheating, communicating with Beck, and he lost it. Like, he literally lost it, because all this time he's been falling in love with Beck. He's been doing stuff for Beck, and then it's like Beck is doing what Candace did and cheating on him. So it sends him into a rage. But luckily for the therapist, he did not kill him. He let him go, because at the end of the day, it's between him and Beck. So he leaves the therapist and he goes to face Beck. Once he gets back to Beck, he flat out asks her if she's cheating on him with the therapist. Beck doesn't know what to say. She's looking like, yeah, but she explained to him why she was, that she loved him and she didn't know how to accept that, deal with it, whoop-de-whoop, all that stuff. And of course, Joe fell for it. He was just so happy to hear her say that she loved him, and that was it. They, had sex and woke up the next morning, and Joe is trying to, continue things on. He tries to make breakfast, but he had to go to the store. The little boy that lives next door to Joe, him and Joe had fell out, so they were not really talking. And the little boy brings a book by that Joe had let him hold. He gets ready to return it, and he mentions to Beck something about the hiding place in the ceiling above the bathroom sink that Joe had told him about. And Beck got to thinking about that, and she, explained to the little boy. At first she was just like, Joe misses you. I know you guys were pretty close. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, all of that. And then once she goes back on the inside, Beck goes into the bathroom. And originally she wasn't thinking about going up into the secret hiding space, but something said, girl, go into the secret hiding space. So she went ahead and stepped up on the toilet, and she looked up there and she started pulling stuff out. She pulled a box out, and in the box, she was not ready for what she found. She found her old phone. She found her journal, a pair of panties. She found Candace's necklace. She found a finger. She found her best friend's phone, and she found a container full of teeth. So needless to say, Beck was sick after that. She did not know what to do, what to say. Her mind was in a million places. Then we see Joe come back home, and he's looking for her. She's in the bathroom, sounding weird and awkward, trying to get the teeth up off the floor that she dropped. And it was a lot. It was definitely a whole lot going on, and she just tried to come out, face Joe, act normal, but she couldn't. I mean, Joe went in the bathroom and he found glass behind the toilet from where the container that he had the teeth in. He looked up at his hiding spot and he immediately knew something was wrong. So Beck tried to hurry up and leave. Joe went and stopped her from leaving, put his hand behind the door, and was just like, no. Then we see Beck waking up. I don't know if he knocked her out, if he drugged her, what happens, but we do see her wake up and Joe has her locked up. So next week is the season finale. It's a lot for them to unpack. It's a good show to me, honestly. I really like the show. It's interesting. It keeps me entertained. I really don't know what to expect from one episode to the next. So that's it. That's my review on it. I hope you guys like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, follow my social media, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.